Common Courtesy with Sean Nicholas. I have to agree with everyone as well because deadass, one, I fucking run because Nikki Prue
can't say anything to him because you snooped. You should just be moved out already. Like, in my opinion, this woman should already.
Angelique Young.
And I would have even told them about the money when I got there. I would have said I only found X, Y, and Z minus the ATM money I withdrew.
Ivan Alexander.
You have to be able to accept what you found and then make a decision from there. Don't go crying to Dear Abby about it or your friends. Make up your mind. Put your big girl team.
And Dr. Christina Palin.
If someone like Britney Spears goes through something like this for 13 years where she's completely blocked.
Yay! Everybody's all here. I'm so excited.
Tonight's topics. We react to Colin Kaepernick's new and latest Netflix special, Black and White and the Backlash. After that, Keke Palmer and her mom, Sharon Palmer, talk a little bit about sex on a game show. After that, we react to the vaccine mandate and the protest. This is Common Courtesy. Let's start the conversation. Yes, and welcome back to Common Courtesy. I'm your host and moderator, Sean Nicholas, and with me I have my awesome co-host, Ivan Alexander. How are you?
I'm doing much better now. You know, I'm kind of rocking out a little bit. Got my drink on. Yes, this is a beer stein, and no, that is not tomato juice. Let me tell you.
Okay. Yeah, that Rico Davis's music, his opening number, "Stay Proper." That is my jam. So under us we have Brandy with us. She's our special guest co-host. How are you?
Good.
All right, so let's get ready into this. Let's dive right into these hot topics. I've been away for a while, and there's so much stuff going on in the world. There's so many things going on, but the first thing I want to start with something fun, because I just saw this new game show with Keke Palmer, and it doesn't star her. It's actually Kevin Hart's game show called Celebrity Game Face on E. And so one of the things is they have to call their parents. They call their friend. And Keke Palmer was facing off against John and Ian Barinholtz and Monica and Superset. And so one of the things that she had to do was call her mom and ask her some questions to get some points. So here's her, calling her mom, and things got a little personal because the first question was a little innocent, but this next question got a little under my skin.
Mommy, it's about to get crazy, but me and you talk like this. You not afraid. When two people are 69ing, what are they doing?
Is that a sex?
Yes, Mom. You don't have to play dumb for the folks. When two people are 69ing, what are they doing?
They do oral sex.
Yes. Good job, Mommy. Good job.
That counts.
Okay.
So I don't know. So this seems like a game show where after that, she asked her mom, one of the questions was, if you have oral sex, do you spit or swallow? Her mom's like, your ass better spit. But I feel like some of the questions if you watch the first season, because it's the second season, this is not someone you want to call your mom, but she got an ass whooping when she got home. When she saw her mom again, she's like, bring your ass in here because you got me on live TV, talk about this. So my question is, to you guys, who would you call in this instance? Let's say you got called to be on this show, because this is an at-home show like this one, and you had to call someone. Would you call your mom, or who would you call, Ivan?
Oh, hell no. Number one, if I called my mom with that kind of crap, it'd be the last call I'd make to her. That was just kind of outrageous. Maybe she thought she was being cute, but it's let's have a little bit of respect for mom now. Don't put her on the spot like that. She got into it. She played it off, but I'm sure after the fact, oh yeah, Keke had some answering to do on that one.
She was getting that belt, bitch.
So Mama threw a shoe. Mama threw a shoe around the corner, and it still hit her upside the head. Yeah, Keke, you were wrong on that one. Sorry, babe.
But you know, they talk about everything. I heard, you know, through the media. You know, I heard they talk about everything. But Brandy, how do you feel? And like, who would you call? Like, who would you talk about sex with?
Oh gosh. Um, so I definitely wouldn't call my mom because even if she knew, she would probably be like, I don't know. Funny enough, okay, don't laugh. I would probably call my ex-husband because it sounds so funny, but when I came out, he basically knew more terms about the LGBTQ community and sex stuff and all kinds of stuff than I did. So he was like schooling me. He's like, I would say something with my friends and he'd be like, blah, 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 or my ex-girlfriend. And I'm like, how do you know this? I'm like, are you undercover? What's going on here? How do you know all this stuff? Like, I'm educated. Like, I'm grown. I know. I'm woke. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's very awkward, but we have a great friendship. But he schools me sometimes. I don't know.
I don't know either. You know what? I would have if I would have called my mom in that instance, I would have got my ass whooped. Like dead ass.
For
As soon as
real.
I got home.
For sure.
My mom like, I've been waiting for you at the door. Like, get your ass in this
In
house.
between
You guys
the
can
screen
hear me.
door
I
and
think
the
we
regular
froze
door.
for a second here.
Oh, did I freeze? Am I back? Am I back? Oh no, Ivan's frozen right now. Oh no, Ivan, am I back?
I see you fine.
Okay. No, so like I would have got my ass if I called my mom, you know, after the fact, especially, you know, on national television with, you know, this Kevin Hart. Say, oh nigga, you the guys bring your ass in here. But but all as well, you know, like if I think about anything, you know, if I talk about sex with anyone, I wouldn't call my parents, you know. I would call like a good friend. I would call, you know, I would call like let's say Janae, you know, or Nikki. A good friend of mine, Janae, or I call Nikki, you know, like Nikki would be someone from the show that I would call and like, okay, bitch, like, you know, we got some things to answer. So like real fast, we just lost Ivan. So like we'll get him back in just a second. So I'm gonna move on to this next topic because I just recently got into Colin Kaepernick's new Netflix special on, you know, it's actually about his life. It travels it's about his life from growing up raised by, you know, white parents as a biracial person, and then it follows him into, you know, right up into the protests he did with the NFL, kneeling and things like that. And he's got a lot of backlash. I feel like he's always getting backlash, but one of the things that's getting so much talk is that he compares the NFL combine, you know, when the players are like trying out for the NFL, things like that. He's getting a lot of pushback for this. So I just want to take a little look at what we saw. And here's Ivan. Take a look at what we saw and just react to this.
Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected, no dignity left intact.
Look at this here. Come on, who wants this?
The scene cuts back and forth between slave owners and coaches.
Now that was just a little scene from, you know, Inside Edition I stole. No, it's fair use is all on the internet. But anyways, I just want to get a reaction from you guys. His comparison between, you know, trying out for the NFL, and especially after what we heard with John Gruden and his emails and him getting, you know, he's stepping down from head coaching at the LA Raiders. You know, how did you guys feel about this special? I'm going to go to Ivan first.
Well, I'm actually going to start watching that tonight. I'm going to binge watch it to make sure I'm all up to date on it.
Yeah, I got to finish this.
In that perspective, when you think about it, he's not wrong. I mean, literally, the slaves were judged based on, you know, their physique, their muscles, what they could do, the whole 9 yards. And basically, these players will be paying millions of dollars. And it's a very similar situation. So I guess my only thing is he started this situation with, you know, going down on one knee, kneeling during the whole, you know, ceremonies and everything else, and really just saying enough's enough, we need to speak up. He got punished for it. But now if you look at the stuff people are doing now, they're going far and above what he did, as far as I'm concerned, to bring to light the whole situation, and nothing's happening to them. So I think he got the raw side of the deal. And what he's saying now, what he's doing now, I give more power to him, because his voice was pretty much, they were trying to snub him out as far as I'm concerned and discount him. And now it's like there's so much going on regarding Black Lives Matter and everything else. Yeah, he kind of got the short end of the stick as far as I'm concerned. So my thing is, do your thing, say your truth, speak your truth, and don't look back at it. And if people don't like it, then get over it.
And then Brandy, let me go to you. Brandy, how did you react to this?
So I was listening to a lot of it, and it was very interesting. It kind of brought me back to kind of like the same thing. Like that's the first thing I thought about when I saw things, was that it was basically the same way they were doing slaves, but not only that, was not that long ago, you know, Hitler and his regime were doing eugenics and doing the same type of things to Black people, people of color, LGBTQ, gypsies, all kinds of things, measuring their nose, measuring their head, measuring different things. So this is not something new, or that it is too far in our past, and it's unfortunate. But I think that the problem is that it's kind of like that white person that says, "Oh, I'm not racist, I have white friends." Or I have Black friends. And I'm just like, you don't see what you're doing until people are going to point it out. Nobody's going to see it from someone else's perspective until they're part of a marginalized community, or have friends, or have someone that actually points this out. And it's kind of hard, because when people don't want to see something, they're not going to see it. Like, all of us have a little bit of prejudice in us, no matter what, against everybody. But when this was brought to my attention, I was like, I thought about eugenics, I thought about slavery, I thought about this and that. And I was like, wow. I was like, think about it. We still think a person that's under a certain amount of feet is considered disabled, or that, you know, someone that is obese is disabled, or what. We put all these like little things on everybody and everything in these boxes. And then when we start, it also reminded me when you join the military. I don't know if any of you are familiar. You're like butt naked, going to get shots, going to get measured, going to get this, that, and the other thing. And it's the same thing. It's like, you're seen again as a number. You're seen again as a piece of property. You're not seen as a person with dignity. And yes, the military gives you money and education and this, that, and the other, just like the NFL will give you this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, how much does your life really matter to those people at the top?
Absolutely. You know, like,
is the trade-off worth it, is my question. I mean, it's up to you, but is the trade-off worth it, is what it comes down to.
You know, we had, before you guys were on the show,
I mean, we don't tell people.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Randy.
No, I was saying we don't tell people, even like you're getting these people that are coming from marginalized areas, just like with the military. And we're saying, we're going to pay you millions of dollars, or we're going to give you college, or we're going to do this. But you're not telling them all the risks that ensue. Traumatic brain injuries, you know, even from little kids, like all these PTSD, different things that are going to happen to you, and all these things that are down the line. And is any of this worth any amount of money that you can put in front of them? You know?
Right. So I just kind of want to jump into, because like that's the biggest pushback Colin Kaepernick is getting for saying this. You know, people are, you know, saying that you get a lot of money from the NFL. And the question is, yeah, at what price? You know, we just had Keith McCants. He was a player drafted from Alabama, my father's home state, and he played for the Buccaneers first, and then he played for a couple different people. But he was on the show because he was recovering from a drug addiction, and he can firmly sit here and attest that it came from, you know, the NFL, because when they drafted him, they knew he had a problem. You know, he had a lot of doctors visits, things like that. So they started like giving him injections of medicine and like hard drugs, and he became a drug addict, you know, and he recently passed away because of of a drug overdose. He recently passed away of that. And, you know, it's like, geez Louise, you know, and after hearing about Joe Gruden, right? I'm right when I say that, Joe Gruden from NFL. He coached John Gruden, sorry.
John
It's
Gruden,
John
the coach
Gruden.
that got the one that's like gone now. Yeah.
So like after hearing about him, you know, and he was in Tampa, I'm not surprised to hear about this stuff. So Colin doing this, you know, I think he's making an artistic judgment in order to get people to feel an emotional need to see what the NFL actually is, because it's almost like the WWE, because people are coming out about
That's what
the
I was
WWE
thinking.
and
Yeah.
you know, about a lot of the wrestlers not having like, you know, health insurance to deal with their injuries, you know. And we were just talking about in the media, they were talking about how in the NFL you have like a lot of concussions and shit like that. So him comparing this to this, and especially with Black Lives Matters going on, you know, getting backlash, you know, I just think that he's making a statement. I think he's making a strong one, because I feel like finally someone said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have like,
I mean, it's been there for years, for decades, but who would actually put it into that same context to finally say, yeah, you're
who's
paying me
brave
millions
enough?
and millions and millions. You've already kicked me to the curb. So you know what? Let's just call a spade a spade. This is very similar to slavery. You put them up on an auction block, you sell their high points, you don't sell their low points, and you sell it to the highest bidder.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah, like, you know, but this time you're getting paid for it.
Yeah,
you know,
But
so
he's saying
like,
that people understanding.
right. So like, I feel like, you know, Colin coming after the NFL, especially
The other
after,
thing that
you know,
I think that Bull.
Go ahead. Sorry, Brandy.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was breaking up. No, I was just going to say, I think like one of the biggest things that they're not understanding, just like any like Supreme Court thing that comes down, that it's going to have an effect, because now we have just opened up college football and sports to being able to get paid, to being able to get this. So now we are going to have literally children right out of high school having these same injuries, having these same issues, not even done growing. And we're going to sit there and give them, as soon as they leave the nest, hey, we're going to put a dollar sign above your head. Don't focus on education. Focus on this. We're going to distort your body. We're going to do this. And then we're going to use you and abuse you. And if you don't have the same that hold true for college, and that after that, after high school, kids can, because it's high school game now on a lot of networks and different things, they're going to go wherever the money is. Just going to trickle down.
Exactly. Instead of getting full-grown USDA choice bulls, now you've opened it up to ponies and younger versions of the same thing they're also getting paid for. So it's just like being cattle. It's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, I mean, yeah, you've got the stardom, you've got the fame, you've got the whole lifestyle and everything else. Do you want to do the trade-off? Will you be smart enough to make it work for those 5 or 10 years to invest the money and make sure that you get out what you need to get out, and then get out of it and say, I'm done? Or do you fall victim to it and you wind up on drugs, or you wind up, you know, doing who knows what, because you can't handle the fame and the fortune and everything else?
Absolutely. Like, it comes all down to that. I feel like, you know, it's unfortunate, you know, that players are being forced to speak out like this in this way. You know, let me make a documentary. It's like working in the White House. You know, like everyone that like quits the White House is like.
Well, I will say it is exploitation, point blank, plain and simple. However,
absolutely.
The other part of that is, though, you as an adult are making a decision to go into this. So you're getting in bed with them. You better know what to expect to a degree. It's like you can't walk in blind and go, oh, yeah, a football player does this, a football player goes through that. You want to reap all those benefits and rewards and all that other stuff. Remember, it's like a number line. For every plus, there's a minus. For every minus, there's a plus. Are you willing to actually be on that scale and adjust it?
But not every player is making like millions of dollars that, you know, Colin did before he left, you know.
True,
so like it's not like, and not every person that left because of this protest is probably making money like Colin is today. So like it honestly, for the whole situation, I think that he's still making a point of things, and I feel like he can because he was in the industry. You know,
I think he should, definitely. I think he should. But keep in mind that not everybody's doing it, not everybody has that, but the potential is there, and that's the hook, line, and sinker that gets them to say, "You too can have this." Are you willing to take it? And if you get it, can you sustain and can you actually live with it? Because it's going to be a ride. And that's just my 2 cents. Okay, 25 cents, whatever. We're good.
All right, so let's move on to our next topic, our last topic. So there's a vaccine mandate protest going on all around the world, especially in New York City. And I just want to kind of play a clip of what we're seeing because, you know, they have 91% of the, first responders vaccinated, but there's like, you know, people protesting that they shouldn't feel mandated to do this. I just want to show a little clip of what we're seeing. Right. So this has been going on everywhere, you know, and so the federal mandate from Biden, President Biden, he was saying that he wanted companies with 100 people of more, or, you know, especially municipal workers and government workers to be vaccine. So the question is, you know, should workers be mandated to get COVID vaccines? I want to go to Brandy first to see what she thinks on this subject.
Okay. So this is very interesting because of the fact that we can't get people to wear a mask correctly. They still, after 2 years, wear it here. They can't understand a simple concept. God forbid how people think condoms work. I don't know. But they can't even do that. Okay. So for me, I feel like if it's going to cure or what's going on, I have no problem. I'm vaccinated. I have no problem. I made my significant other get vaccinated. She told me if she didn't love me, she wouldn't have gotten vaccinated. Whatever. If I saved her life, great. But, I feel like the problem is that even if you mandate certain things, it doesn't, because it gets into HIPAA violations too. Like, are they going to go off their word? Or do you have to show a card? Or what are we going to ask them to do? Because just mandating isn't really doing anything. I think that when it comes to workers like cops and stuff like that, I see them here and they've never really worn masks, even when we were in the height of everything. They're touching people. They're doing all kinds of things. EMS workers, all that kind of stuff. I think if you don't want to wear the mask, get a shot. But the thing is, if we say, hey, wear a mask, they're not even wearing it correctly anyway. So if we were to say, oh, you don't have to get the shot, just wear a mask, they're not even doing that correctly. So there needs to be something in place. And unfortunately, with a lot of places that are smaller businesses, they're not included in this. And sometimes they're the people that have the most connection to the outside world, as well as independent contractors. You can't force independent contractors to do anything, because they're not your employees. So there's another big group you can't do anything to. So to me, I feel like I understand the risks of shots with certain people with certain illnesses. I get it. But at the same time, I've worked with people that say, I have asthma, I can't get the shot. Like, I have a doctor's note, I can't wear a mask. Like, people are dying left and right. If your own issues are that you don't know what's in the shot, you don't know what's in that, do you know what's in this can you're drinking? Do you know what's in that cheeseburger you're eating? Then shut up. You don't know. They're not going to give you something that's trying to turn you into a purple alien. I haven't seen any commercials with anybody as an alien, so we're good.
Ivan, let me go to you. Should people be mandated to get this COVID vaccine?
Well, that question is still up in the air for a lot of people. For me personally, I understand if you're in certain professions, to protect yourself and the public and things like that, that's one thing. But what's getting me right now is I'm involved in the situation of a company that has more than 100 employees and the mandating the fact that you have to be vaccinated. I personally don't agree with it. The biggest thing for me, and people talk about science and everything else going on, fine. Show me one case of a breakthrough polio vaccination where somebody got vaccinated for it and still got polio. Doesn't happen. Show me a breakthrough case of measles or mumps or any of the other childhood diseases that we had vaccines for. Show me the breakthrough case. That's telling me the vaccines for those particular situations, they work. So why are you forcing me to take a vaccine that right now is more of a Band-Aid that you're saying, well, you may not get it, But if you do get it, you won't go in the hospital for it. And if you do go in the hospital for it, you won't die from it. What if I'm that one person that does get it, that does go in the hospital and does die from it? So there's no recourse. It's an experimental situation. You cannot sue the drug makers for it because it's an experimental emergency situation for a drug. I tell people at work, nothing personal, guys. This is almost like religion and politics and art. I don't discuss it because it's very opinionated. But here on this show, we have opinions and we're going to talk about it. So I will say that every year, there's two things I don't get: the flu shot and the flu. So I have yet to get the COVID. I've tested negative for it. A friend of mine has had COVID 3 times, and he's been vaccinated fully and still got it 3 times. So my concern is, if you have a vaccination that's going to do what a vaccination is supposed to do and prevent me from getting it, no problem. All bets are off. I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Well, even the flu shot doesn't prevent you from getting the flu. Like,
Well,
it
they
really.
never said it would
season.
per se. It's not a vaccination. It's not a vaccination against it, but it qualifies as an actual vaccine because you're getting it to actually make your body try and produce.
But you're producing antibodies, but like it doesn't. Antibodies isn't like, it's almost like that thing they have for HIV now, like PrEP. Like it can, or condoms even. Like it gives you like the best chance of not getting something, or not having a pregnancy, with birth control. It's all science. So like it's giving your best chance. Your friend that got COVID 3 times, were they in the hospital at any point after being fully vaccinated?
He was home, like really sick for about a good month, but he never went to the hospital per se. So he stayed at home, actually fighting the bug. Now, me personally, in the same respect, we all have immune systems. If we're not busy popping a pill for this every 10 seconds or taking a drug for that every 10 seconds, breaking down the natural system we have that's designed to fight these things, perhaps we wouldn't have so much of a problem. So
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just pissed off at this point now because like my company is saying by December 31st you have to be vaccinated, yada yada yada, blah blah whatever, and then I can't take a cruise if I'm not vaccinated. I can't travel here if I'm not vaccinated. But 5 years from now,
well, this is like a requirement for something, and I feel like it's all like a choice. Like if you have a company of 100 people, it's like this is how this virus and this disease is like breaking through. Like if I was a police officer, especially in New York City or Chicago, some shit like that, as even in a town like St. Petersburg or Tampa or Orlando, there's a lot of fucking people here, and you're working with the public, so you have to be in their faces. You have to be touching them, doing things. If I was a nurse, there's a nurse walk out over the vaccine, and they work in science. So I'm like, so like it's like a requirement. So like we were all there when we were in middle school. We had to get like some vaccines, or even to start like elementary school or pre-K.
Right.
Pre-K. Maybe there weren't any smallpox vaccine breakouts that we're hearing about today because it's buried under the fucking news. But I feel like they probably had their problems with the smallpox vaccine, because it was back then. They didn't know a lot about science, but now today
nobody even went to the doctors.
Right. And shit that's going on today. Like I go on, like, oh, I have a headache. Like, what is it?
Yeah, but back then too, though, the drugs back then actually worked. I mean, seriously, the drugs back then were some hard-hitting, serious-ass drugs that actually cured things. Now the medical profession puts you on a Band-Aid and says, oh, you need this prescription for the rest of your life so we can make money rather than cure something.
So let's talk about, like the Tuskegee project, when people were getting like, they were giving them like syphilis and shit like that. So like there's a mistrust there. And honestly, I feel like there's a mistrust of the government, like saying they're getting behind it, saying that you gotta get vaccinated. But this vaccine is probably helping a lot more people than it is hurting people. And like I said, if you're working out there with the public, you should get this, absolutely, because like I said, you're out there touching people, you're being handsy.
The part to that is people were nasty before the damn virus. They're gonna be nasty during the virus,
but it's a requirement. It's a requirement though. Like so, like it's like this. There are some jobs where you're like, oh, you need to get like this college degree. If you don't have the fucking degree, don't apply. So like, and
so here's
like,
the thing.
I think cops should get. Wait, hold on. I think cops should get like a physical every year, like a physical, like run around. Can you still jump this fucking fence? Should you be on the force still? Like so, like.
I'm gonna
been
go
watching
outside and
Cops
make you
too
do
much.
that now.
You've been watching
So
Cops
like,
too much.
no, but you expected them to do that. Like you called the cops, like, oh, somebody jumped on my fence. They chased my ass. You know, you expect
That's why they make guns with
these
bullets. Just shoot
cops.
them.
No, so but see, we're having a problem with cops shooting people
No.
with running away. Yeah,
Don't send me
we're
a damn
having a
social
problem
worker.
with
Send
that.
me a cop with a gun and shoot his
No,
ass because that's what he needs to do. That's what needs to be done. Sorry.
No, we're having
Jump
a
my
problem
fence
with people
again.
getting shot.
Jump my fence
No.
again. Seriously, you
Lord.
won't. I bet you won't.
Oh, I can't. I
So
can't.
I'm just
no, we're
messing with
having a
you.
conversation.
Listen.
Okay, because like no, because
And
listen, like I think cops should get
it's
and
here's the thing.
the
Is in
firefighters should get like physical qualification tests every year or 2 years to make, because like you see some cops, you're like, yo, you can't catch my ass if I ran.
well, so listen. So my girlfriend had to get recertified and retrained
Okay.
and had to qualify just for going from Miami to Tampa. So it depends where and what city, if you're city, county, federal, what you're in, certain things do that, which I agree with. As to say with what you're asking about jobs and qualifications. So when I lived in Hawaii, I had to get a blue card to work in the restaurant industry in general. You have to get a tuberculosis test. It has to be negative. You have to every year have a blue card, take a test, do all this stuff. There are requirements. If you do not pass that, you can't work in any bar industry. You can't do anything like that. So it's normal for us to have that, but they're having a huge uprising right now in Hawaii, like New York City style, because they're like, you know, colonization and this, that, and the other thing. So they're having issues. But my issue is we apparently have a job or a worker shortage. So if you don't like what your job is doing, there's the door. Go get another job.
Hello.
Like there's a million and one jobs. Work from home. Like do something. Like no one's going to ever tell me that, oh, I get fired from one job. Well, I'm just going to sit on my couch and cry about it. No, I'm going to get another job because that's what a survivor, especially a woman, knows how to do. We know how to freaking survive. So if you tell us we can't make money here, guess what? I'm going to move over there. I'm going to set up shop and I'm going to work 10 times harder for jobs if I need to. I'm not going to be on the streets. So, I mean, that's the difference is they have the will and want to do things. It is everybody's choice to make the choices in life to what you do. Like if I go get a DUI, guess what? I can't do certain jobs. If I go do something, I can't do certain jobs. There's ramifications of all of our behavior and there's right from wrong. We all know it. And if the government says you need a license for this or you need to get this, I might not agree with it. But if I want to keep my job in the career that I'm in, I'm going to do it because that's what I have to do. You know,
especially like I said, especially
if
you're like
go live somewhere else.
Especially like if you're EMT, you know, like I especially think you should be getting or a nurse, a doctor, like working in a hospital. You're touching all these people. You don't want to be passing like COVID to people, you know, like while you're
well, there's people with HIV that can easily work in a hospital or anything like that, but they have to take extra precautions. They have to do extra things.
Well, the difference.
So if you don't want to get that shot, then we have to do other things to prevent you.
And the difference with HIV is it's not like an airborne, you know, virus that people are getting. So like, no, I stand behind this. I think that they should, especially if you're working in New York or even Florida and you're working with the public every day, you have a risk of like, you know, passing this shit on. So I honestly don't know why.
Well, not so much just passing it, but also catching it. So I say I agree in certain public sector positions. Yes, it should be a situation where you have to have this because not only protecting you or the people that you deal with, but protecting yourself as well.
And I heard a lot of cops have gotten it.
Yeah, a lot of cops
told
have
me
gotten
that,
it.
and I'm like, this. Oh, you want that shit?
But on a private sector level, I think it's a totally
Thank the Lord, mine has not.
I think on a private sector level, it's a totally different situation.
Okay, but like if you work at a company with more than 100 people, that makes sense. Is that not what your company's doing?
Well, my company is setting up for the mandate to pass. It has yet to happen. So my company, like a lot of other companies, are saying, okay, we're anticipating this to pass. So by December 31st, you need to be vaccinated or have the exemption for medical or the exemption for religion to say that, you know, for your reason why not taking it. Otherwise, at this point now, insurance companies are on the ball of charging you an extra premium if you don't get tested. So
see, this is a public health problem, you know, like I don't know. It's just I honestly think that if you're working with a lot of people, you should be vaccinated because it's like, okay, you know, if you're working like as I can't think of too many jobs where you don't see a lot of people. I really can't think of one.
IT.
You know, where yeah,
Because
if you're working,
they stay in a cube somewhere and they don't do anything.
if you're on a computer somewhere,
but they should take a poll. Like they need to offer to if you're working in, say, like you said, a cubicle, then they need to say, okay, all the people who are vaccinated and don't want to work around these people that don't want to be vaccinated, you have to give one or the other the ability to work from home. Then,
right, one would think, yeah,
if that's possible.
I just think
so,
the other big
because
issue is
I'm
that
not putting my life at risk.
Right. But I just think there's so much unknown about this. And it's almost like people are running around scared as far as even our quote elected officials. There's so much we don't know about
but
it.
our elected officials got the vaccine. Like most of them have it. And not a lot of them, like not okay, let's say Governor Abbott from Texas, he got COVID, you know, but like there again, he was out in the public shaking hands, you know, kissing babies. No. But he was out there in the public, so that would make sense he gets it. Like there is no like, you know, guarantee. Like we were talking about condoms earlier. You can wear a condom, but you can still like, you know, have a pregnancy, get, you know, something else. And it's not a guarantee, but like I'm thinking that if you're working in the public eye with actual the public, like where you're, you know, taking people's garbage and shit like that, you know, you're touching things that they fucking touched, you know, and I would think that like, you know, if you back the blue, you should be backing them being healthy as possible. Like if I was a nurse or a doctor working in the hospital, I would want all the vaccines. You know, hit me up with this bitch. You know, you never know, but you're around this stuff every day, so you just kind of want to take precautions. So, like in that sense, now if I worked at like, you know, I'm a seamstress at home, that's a prerogative, and that's not what the mandate is hitting. People working at small companies, but I don't know. I don't know. So
it's interesting because can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me when this argument came about with the first responders, especially with police officers and anyone on the front lines, military, whatever. You're willing to risk your life for people you don't even know, but you're not willing to take a vaccine. How does that even make logical sense? You'll take a bullet, but you won't take a vaccine.
Right.
That's not logical. It's just not logical.
And it's like the president getting, you know, Trump, he got the vaccine, so his whole entire family, and we're not hearing them, you know, getting back, you know, COVID. So I mean, and also you want to listen to chance of passing it. But anyways, we're going to shelve this topic for later because it's going to come up again because it's becoming a political issue. You know, I wanted to say we have the first Black mayor in St. Petersburg. Congratulations, Ken Welch. I'm glad, you know. There was a very good, you know, political race there. But we'll see you guys next week because we're supposed to have we should have Jay Maya from Alter Ego and The Voice on the show talking about a little, you know, we're gonna ask him some questions about, you know, hot topics and, you know, his experience in Alter Ego. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
See ya.